Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about an interview that happened with ZZZ devs, specifically about certain points of this interview, such as that devs do not feel any regret about having to change their vision of the game, because as you're already aware, the game obviously changed a lot from 1.0 version to 2.0 version as we are now, but from what I see within the community, not everybody exactly likes these changes, and I'm actually curious about you guys in the chat. Do you like the direction of the game that 2.0 patch is taking? Because I am getting mixed signals. Some people like it, some people don't. For context, as of recording of this video, I have not played the story yet, so I'm not gonna commentate whether the story is good or bad. However, they do have some interesting points within this interview that seems promising, but at the same time, some people also might be concerned because, of course, the vision of the game has changed. But nevertheless, let's talk about the good stuff first. They are thinking about bringing back faction chain attacks, like what we have with Ben and Kolida. So they specifically say that it is one of their future direction for combat design, and based on agent gameplay specialties, they're eager to explore more combat mechanics and possibilities to bring players a more diverse combat experience. So by the looks of this, looks like we're gonna get more mechanics, hopefully not time-wasting mechanics, but mechanics that actually engage you as a player, so it doesn't feel tedious and repetitive. So that's pretty nice if it happens. They also have talked about how they revamped the map experience and how exactly this experience of exploring the game will change for players going forward. They basically say that gameplay mechanics will require upgrading the game basic functions and innovating, and version 2.0 places an equal emphasis on foundational infrastructure and design to enhance the combat stage experience. They have introduced new navigation features like the minimap and world map, and through this minimap, players can track their current location in real time and follow missions more intuitively. So basically, in short, version 2.0 will provide you with a more comprehensive and convenient mapping and navigation system, helping you by quickly locating desired targets and teleport you to your destination of choice. That's fair, but at the same time, what's the point of like having an open area? Like if you want people to explore, if you're just gonna have like teleports at the end of the day. I guess for the first time exploration and then just convenience with teleporting. Just a heads up, as the time of this recording, I have not experienced this open areas exploration stuff myself, but I did watch some other streamers who played that. So that's that. They also talked about the big update about the combat system, and they also tell us why they deemed these changes were necessary and what's going to be the future of ZZZ combat, or at least what it's going to look like. So they basically said that in version 2.0 they will provide us with more exhilarating combat experience. They have explored and upgraded the sandbox style combat stages based on ZZZ unique gameplay features, and we will effectively get to experience 3D combat stages with greater freedom, broader exploration space, and more fluid combat encounters. They also did say they made the iterative improvements to squad configuration and enemy engagement mechanics to make exploration and combat more streamlined and smooth. They also do mention, speaking of combat, which I'm personally the most interested for, is that they plan to add more challenging combat gameplay, and they're also considering how to design endgame content that will properly showcase player combat skills to improve battle techniques and achieve character progression. This is all nice and cool, but at the end of the day, it is a gacha game, and I don't think they'll ever let you have like full skill expression in a gacha game. Like you still have to engage with their systems, stamina, building the characters and so on. But nevertheless, it's nice they think like that. They also do say they plan to continue to explore and expand more combat-focused gameplay features, such as simulated battle trial, which will come in 2.1. Hopefully we get more of this new combat-focused gameplay, not just updates to simulated battle trial, but like maybe some new stuff as well. That would be very nice. And also they're exploring ways to balance the needs of different player types, from content-focused players to action-oriented players. The devs' core objective is to bring the joy of action games to broader audience. That's why beyond core experiences like combat, they also feature like daily missions and mini games designed to meet diverse player needs. Personally, I think the mini game stuff and so on, it's probably very popular for mobile user. Do let me know if you as a PC console player also enjoys these mini games. And also moving forward, they're looking ways how to better integrate content-based and combat-based gameplay to enhance interconnectivity between the game's various playstyles. Personally, I don't know how you're gonna match this together and make like both sides of players happy. I definitely feel like they will have to make a decision. You either commit, more combat oriented, or you want to do like more content rewards type of stuff. But nevertheless, we'll see over time what happens. They also do talk about player feedback, specifically that they are committed to this game as a long-term service game, and they're listening to our feedback, and they're also polishing content to serve everyone well. They also do say that player feedback never comes as a surprise to us. I mean, feedback is always gonna be there, I guess. And also moving forward, they say they will continue to refine the gaming experience, creating an ever-evolving world that truly is worthy of player long-term commitment. Well, personally, I treat these gachas a bit differently. I treat it as an experience, adventure, not really as an investment. And I have to keep playing this like for a very, very long time. Play for as much as you like, and whenever you don't like it or you don't feel like playing, you can just always take a break and come back later. Interestingly enough, they also talk about the vision of their game, specifically the initial vision they had at launch. And while they're sure that they'll be able to satisfy more players with the current version, aren't they like a bit little sad as the creator, of the TV screens, that the original vision wasn't deemed to be appealing enough? This question has a quite interesting answer. One of the constant challenges faced by long-running games is change, and we're well aware of this. That's why development teams of Zenless Zone Zero has always been seeking change, combining game update requirements and player feedback. We explore numerous possibilities during development and select the best ones to present to players. But when the content just goes live, they're just the beginning. Some gameplay mechanics prove themselves in practice, while others may not meet our expectation, requiring further adjustments. I guess what they mean by their expectation, like sales and player retention. So if that's not done well, then if that doesn't hit their goals, then obviously they have to do further adjustments. They also do say that innovation isn't achieved overnight and they need to make many trade-offs. Therefore, they don't feel regret, but rather focus their energy on the future, striving to bring more interesting content to players through change. Well, personally, I think they will have to eventually kind of like settle down with what the vision you want to be, because if you constantly keep changing, I feel like you will potentially lose some players along the way who are sticking with your game, because the game might try to change, more perhaps mainstream appeal, and you could have players who might not be interested in that stuff. Because I already looked a bit through the internet, specifically through the comments from this interview, and there's already some people who are having concerns and some people that are more positive about this. Feel free to read this stuff on the screen or just pause it if you want to read it for yourself. Personally, I think we'll just have to wait and see what happens, because do remember that these interviews doesn't mean what they say in the interview it's going to happen 100%, because I can tell you a quick funny story. Honkai Star Rail used to have an interview back in 2023, and they said how they're gonna handle power creep and it's gonna be all okay, and then you saw what happened this year, right? So never take these interviews for a guarantee or to be happening 100%. And lastly, within this interview, there was also another interesting topic that I personally have a concern with. Before you guys attack me or anything like that, please hear me out and let's explain what they have said. So basically, they said that instead of delivering bite-sized story arcs that can be wrapped up over the span of a single update, they plan to focus more on overarching storytelling in Season 2, which leaves more room for characters, relationships to develop. So now, I personally have like a bit of PTSD, I guess, from HSR, Honkai Impact 3, and this type of plots, at least from Hoyo games, can be very yap heavy and very long. I guess this type of storytelling, at least based on what I see with HSR, is very popular in China, but I'm not sure how much global players will enjoy this. There is also some further information regarding the story segment of the interview, which I would like to go over. Specifically, the question has been asked that going into Season 2 of the story, what are the lessons the team learned from Season 1 in terms of writing and presentation? So they also provided a question of writing and presentation, and let's see what the devs, well, I guess here, what the devs had to say. So they said from a narrative perspective, Zenless Zero early storytelling focuses more on presenting individual version chapters, delivering complete story arcs within each version to provide players with fulfilling narrative experience. And starting from Season 2, they will place a greater emphasis on long-term main storyline development and setup, exploring characters in more depth and showcasing more multi-dimensional and complex character relationships. I believe in a vacuum, like in itself, it's all right, it's good, but as a reminder, do remember that with many Hoyo titles before, this type of stuff can get very convoluted and doesn't have necessarily good presentation. And of course, if we see at some point, like in a future live stream, some of those Honkai Impact 3 writers showing up on the live stream, then personally that would kind of tell me a lot. But they also said that additionally they're working to integrate narrative more tightly with core gameplay mechanics, such as combining story sequences with 3D stage experiences, allowing players to become more versed in ZZZ story through exploration and combat. So what they're saying here would also kind of make me think they want to perhaps focus more on exploration in the future. Personally, I don't think it's a bad idea to have more exploration if that's what they want, but I just hope that the game engine, or like the way it's structured, can actually work as an exploration game, because perhaps, you know, the game wasn't designed from the ground up to be an open area exploration game, and there could be also some, I guess, technical difficulties they might have to overcome. There are also a couple of other questions that I personally don't deem they're that interesting, but I will provide the entire interview within the description down below, so you can read all of its entirety for yourself if you want to do so. But yeah, I guess this is it for this video. If you have anything else to add yourself, feel free to write it within the comments down below. As for my voice, yeah, I'm just tired. That's why I sound like this, I guess. Hopefully it's not always gonna be like that. Smile. And yeah, I wish you a wonderful day, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao.